What's going on, everyone? Um, I don't think I've ever talked about my friend Vinny on this channel before, and very rarely did I even share a dream of mine that I had with him. Excuse me, not a dream of mine, many dreams that I've had specifically with this person present in them, more than anyone else as far as I can recall. I've had plenty of family members that I would see in dreams, like my wife or mom, even my late grandparents, for example. All sorts of things that I've shared over the years. But I had another experience today in which a flood of memories returned to me, specifically regarding dreams with this particular person. And the dreams that we would have are very interesting and unique, and there is a component to them that has the same sort of element to it, and I'll get to what that is in a minute. But this guy was probably my best friend in high school. We did drama class, excuse me, drama class together. We did plays together. We did a Shakespeare thing together, which we memorized a bunch of Shakespeare lines, and he was really into movies and studied in university for that and moved to LA to work with movies and everything. Um, but over the years, I've kept in touch with him, and I specifically said that we would never lose touch, and I said it to him half jokingly, but I was actually serious because intuitively I knew that I would never lose touch with him, and I actually did for the last couple of years until recently. I haven't heard from him at all for like the last 2 years until a couple of weeks ago, where I couldn't find him on social media, nowhere. But eventually, he did show up on social media. Even after searching and not being able to find him, he actually showed up on one of my feeds. So that was the moment when I knew that I truly will never lose touch with this person. He's just one of those people um, that you have a connection with, even though we're totally different in almost every conceivable way. Um, Even the types of movies we like and all sorts of things, we're very different in terms of character, in terms of even likes and interests. But there's something there that's magnetic that connects us as souls, I believe. And I'd like to hope he feels the same way, but I don't know, maybe not. This is just coming from my perspective over here. And, you know, he has been probably present in at least 10, between 10 and 20 of my dreams over the last decade or so. And all of these dreams have the same, like, theme to them. And the theme is we are present between land and water, um, land and water interface wherever we are in these dreams. And in general, I have a lot of dreams with bodies of water, like oceans or lakes, present in them. And I absolutely do believe that bodies of water are portals and oceans are portals. And the bridge between land and water is not just a barrier between land and water, but it's a barrier between worlds as well. So it could be one of the reasons why I ended up living 3 miles from the beach, because there's a powerful magnetic component to the currents of the ocean and the waves of the water and waves and the way the water moves it has this subtle, energetic quality to it that I believe it has certain powers of manifestation and transmutation, perhaps, into other realms. That's why, for example, I've been to Crater Lake, Oregon, and that place has so many myths and legends and stories regarding specifically just those types of things. So, yeah, that's the main theme is we would always be gathering near a beach with Vinnie in these dreams. I have extremely clear memories of some of these dimensions that I've seen. All of these places are what we would define as our local region where I am in Southern California, but in other forms and other realities. And I had numerous dreams of gatherings with him, gathering at tables, with in dinners, large gatherings with dinners. I actually specifically remember one really peculiar and interesting reality in which the only way I could really describe this is everyone, there were buildings everywhere, but everyone lived on the roof of these buildings and they engaged in all manner of social activity on the roofs of these buildings, including dinner and cooking and living quarters and all sorts of things. And it was a really kind of beautiful and strange place to look at because you have, imagine these rooftops everywhere. These weren't super tall buildings. And there's these little bridges between them where people could like walk into each other's houses. And everyone just basically lived outside on a roof. And there was these little cute like tiki fires everywhere and people having dinner and playing music and these little walkways and pathways in between these buildings. And I saw him in a dream once in a place just like that, where we were having dinner on one of these rooftops. And that was a really beautiful dimension, actually. Really beautiful. Actually, almost every place that I saw Vinny in was a really beautiful, vibrant, high frequency sort of place. Not always. There was one place, it didn't look like our local region. I remember seeing him in a dream where it really looked like we could have been in South America or Central America, driving these old 1960s cars, also to the beach though. And we were part of some expedition group to go try to learn or discover something, and it looked like it went back in time, but it didn't feel like it was our time, our place, our world, though, even though it looked similar. I remember another dream I had with him where it was a region that looked very much like where we are with, in Southern California. There's a lot of really tall cliffs by the ocean, and there's sandstone and all sorts of things, and limestone in some places, and some of these cliffs are 50, 100 feet tall, and they just straddle the beach. And in one particular realm, I was with Vinny, and we were walking down this beach, and you know how you had this unique place with everyone living on the roof. This was a unique place too, where inside these sandstone cliffs were built in all these little caves. Um, and they just straddled the beach, and that's how people lived. As far as you can go, there's these little dwellings, like kind of the closest thing I've seen is when I went to New Mexico, and you could look up this place called Bandelier National Monument. And over there are a bunch of cliff dwellings that the Native Americans in that region lived in. They carved, or I don't know if they carved into the caves, but they they lived like inside these walls, and they were pretty high up. They had staircases that would go up to them. This was sort of similar, but the people were not very primitive. Everything seemed sort of modern. There were restaurants. There was people gathering and eating, and there was fires going on, fires everywhere. It was such a peaceful, mellow, incredibly just uplifting sort of energy in this place. Um, it was just so adorable to see all these little cliffside dwellings with people gathering and socializing, and the way that they were socializing in both of these dreams that I'm recalling, including the one with the rooftops, is that sort of deep face to face connection that I almost feel like we've lost since the 90s. I don't know, not necessarily blaming technology here, but that sort of really vibrant heart to heart interface between people is so, it doesn't seem as present anymore where we are. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, of course it does. I'm just saying it was everywhere in these places. And there's other dreams like this where these, and there were places where the nature looked different, where the stone was different colors, where there were other places that looked really similar to this with roads and cars and all these things, but it still was very different. It had a different energy. It was a different sort of environment, different plants, different everything still. It could there there's places that look almost exactly the same, but yet at the same time they're completely different and unrecognizable. And it's really hard to explain what I mean unless you've seen it. Um, but it's strange and interesting that I would have so many dreams with this particular person that I'm gonna go see in person on November 20th in LA. And over the years, I know he's had a really rough time and went through some really bad stuff. And I'm not gonna throw him under the bus and talk about what that is. It's his personal stuff, right? So, but he's been in a pretty dark place for a while, and I feel like he's part of my soul family, and I want to uplift his spirit when I see him. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys about this particular individual, and there's other dreams, many others. I've dreamed working in a hospital with him. I've had dreams where I had two separate dreams. One, I was working in a hospital with him, and another one where I was working in an elderly care facility with him. And that's just weird. And then the rest of the times, the majority of the time, it was a body of water. It was an ocean that was visible. So that's all I wanted to share. Guys, take it easy.